guys, Christy here. I've gotten several requests for a how-to sushi, so let's try it out, see what we can do. There's a few things you're going to want to have. It's not a necessity, but it definitely makes the job a lot easier. The first thing to start with is your bamboo mat. It just makes it so much easier to get a tight roll. The first time I made sushi I didn't have the mat and it was really loose. It was hard to cut and it would fall apart when we ate it. So definitely makes it so much easier to roll. And then when you're buying that, you will also get usually a rice paddle. You can pick up either one of these at New Horizons Healthy Foods or on Amazon, and they're about $5, maybe less than that, and for both of them, super cheap and makes the job so much easier. So bamboo mat, rice paddle, rice, obviously. This is my big bag of rice. We eat a lot of sushi, so stock up. This is the brand you're gonna find at most grocery stores too. And obviously you can find a much smaller bag. But this is sushi rice. It gets really sticky, so you need specific sushi rice. And that's why it's called sushi, not because of the fish. A lot of people think raw fish is sushi. Not true, it's actually rice. So, bamboo mat, paddle, rice, and you're gonna need nori, which is toasted seaweed. So here's the brand that's at most grocery stores. It's pretty easy to find. It's in the Asian food section. I've also tried to get this brand usually, but it's harder to find. It's usually at health food stores. This one's organic. Both of them come with 10 sheets of nori. I think it's kind of big, so I don't use the whole sheet. I actually rip it in half. It kind of feels like paper, so it's really easy to just rip in half. You can use some scissors if you want, but it's actually really easy just to rip. And then I have two. So I have the rice here. I cook the rice in my rice cooker. It's in the background there. Just makes the job so much easier. It takes about less than 30 minutes in there, and I'm not good at cooking rice on the stove, so this makes my life a lot easier. I haven't added, you don't have to do this. It adds a little extra to it, but really if you don't have rice vinegar, don't worry about it. So I'm just gonna add a tablespoon of rice vinegar over top of that, and then a little bit of salt. Just a little. And then I'm gonna stir that up, and it doesn't stir up easily. If you can see, it's super sticky, super duper sticky. And that brings me to a very important point. When you're using this rice, everything should be wet. And that's why I have this little bowl here. It's filled with water. And I just keep my fingers wet and the paddle wet. That way it doesn't stick as much. It just makes things a lot easier. And trust me, this is gonna stick to everything. And that's why I have this little blue mat down here. Just makes cleanup easier because it sticks to everything. So you're gonna wanna get your bamboo mat down. And then we all like in my family, the rice on the outside so that the first flavor you get isn't that seaweed flavor. So we put the rice on the outside, and that's why I have this plastic wrap on my bamboo mat, because if I just put the rice on there, it would stick all over the bamboo mat. So for today's sushi, I'm going to use sweet potatoes and avocados. This is my son's favorite, and I just make it for him all the time. I coat it in flour and water and then bake it on 400 for about 25 minutes. That just helps it get a little crispy. So let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure our paddle is really wet, our fingers are wet, and then we're gonna take a big scoop. And this one is just gonna take practice on how much you need. You're gonna play around with it, and then you're gonna know. And this is where the rice paddle comes in super handy, because then you can kind of smash it, smush it, and make it do what you want, because without it, it sticks to everything, just makes everything really difficult. So if we just keep smushing it, what I'm going for is so I kind of use this as a guide. I want it to be that length so that I don't have too much rice or too much seaweed. I just want it to be perfect. And as you can see, this is super sticky, so I'm gonna have to get it wet again. And then just keep smushing. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect. Like, you can't have your edges, well, I can't, I'm not perfect. I can't get the edges perfect. And then I'm just gonna take my seaweed, place it on the top there, and this is the fun part. Then take whatever filling you want to put in there, any veggies or whatever it is that you like, and put those in there. And so I'm going with the avocado with the sweet potato. Sometimes I do it separately. Sometimes I don't do the avocado at all, but today we're going to put that in there. Okay, so I have the plastic wrap on there, so I'm going to want to be careful that it doesn't get wrapped up in the sushi roll as I'm going, so I'm just kind of tucking it around. Your first roll, you're gonna wanna press everything down into the mat and kind of start rolling it up over, because we want that first roll to be really tight. It's gonna kind of set the stage for everything else. So bring your mat around and then just give it a press so that we're just packing everything in there. And that just makes it so much easier to get the rest rolled up, and then it won't fall apart. And then if you're using the plastic like I am, make sure that you peel that back. It's a real pain when you get it all wrapped up in there. And now I'm getting it stuck to my finger, so I'm gonna get a little wet. So now you're just gonna take that plastic wrap with your bamboo mat and you're gonna roll it forward, and it just kind of rolls. You're just gonna roll it forward and press down, and then bring it back. And then if it looks good, you're good, or you can roll it a little more if it didn't quite get tight enough for you. And this is now being a pain for me. And then just give it a little roll, and then you should be all set. And there we go. So now it's super sticky, and you're going to have to cut it. You're going to want a really sharp knife for this. The rice is so sticky, it just sticks to everything, including the knife. So you need a really sharp knife, and the sweet potato is crunchy, so it's kind of hard to get through. Let me grab a knife. Okay, this is weird, but I like to use my cheese knife. Obviously, we don't eat cheese anymore, so I don't need the cheese knife. But I find that because it has the holes in it, it doesn't stick as much with the rice. So make sure you get your knife wet. And make sure your fingers are wet, because it's going to stick. And then give it a little sawing motion, because if you try to press down, it's just gonna smash it. Okay, it looks so pretty. I hope you can see it when I get it up there. Can you see that? It looks so good. I can't wait to eat it. I serve the sweet potato rolls with maple syrup. I heat it up quite a bit so that it thickens, and it makes it a little easier to top the sushi with. I usually make 6 of these at a time. I make 1 serving of rice, which is 1.5 cups of dried rice. So that's about 6 rolls, and there's 3 of us in our family. And then we might have, I cannot think of the name of the soup. Miso. Then we have miso with it. Now you think I'm lying that we don't eat miso soup, because I don't know the name of it. But we eat miso. We usually have some miso soup with it. Okay, let's do one more just so you get the gist of it. I mean, you can always rewind it and watch it again, but let's just do it again. So like I said, you're gonna have to play around with the amount. You'll get familiar with how much you need. Keep getting your paddle and your fingers wet. Smash it down. And it gets faster. The more you do it, as you can see, I'm already going a lot faster this time than the last one that I slowed down. And really, I can make 6 of these in probably about 10 minutes, which is pretty quick. And throwing the rice and the sweet potatoes together, their cook time is about 25 to 30 minutes. Throwing them together, and the whole meal is, under an hour, but still super easy. It's not like you're working for an hour. So it really is an easy dinner, and I don't mind making it, other than the cleanup, because usually I have rice everywhere. Okay, you saw I rolled it back up, just the edge, and then I'm gonna press it down so that it gets nice and tight. And that's what's important when you're cutting it, that it's nice and tight, because trust me, it will just fall apart. And it's super frustrating. So just keep rolling until it's all rolled up. Now you like to give it a little press at the end. Make sure it's all tight and smushed in there. And some wet hands to get it off there. And there you go. So let's press the like if you liked the video, if you found it helpful. Subscribe to our channel to find more videos and fun stuff. Go like us on Facebook, on Instagram. We have all kinds of good stuff going on. Hope to see you soon.